Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to listen to some mumbly jumbly. All the way from St. Albans, your host for tonight, Abs the Magic, Supercoach Godfather.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining. We're going to do part 3 of this episode now. Practice game analysis. Now, there's one small problem when I do these analyses. I can't even say this word. How do you say it? Analysis. Okay, there's one problem. Okay, I don't see stats, and I'm a stats man. I like to see how many touches, how many kicks, how many handballs. I can't see none of this. And I'm not going to sit there and watch 8 quarters of football. It's too hard. 9 games, 8 quarters. It's nearly impossible. So just come down if some of the stats aren't correct. Hopefully I'll have better stats next week for you, better analysis. But we're going to go with what we got in hand. And it's not easy. The eye test. And when you do an eye test and the camera is at 256p. It's below VHS standard. It's not easy. I can't actually see the players' faces. I can't see the numbers. And I've got a big screen. I've got a 70-inch screen, which is a 4K TV, and I can't see a player's numbers. And we're in 2023. Just come down. But anyway, I'm trying my best. Okay, it's not easy. Now I'm gonna go with the analysis for the next 3 games. It's not accurate. It's never going to be accurate because I don't get a full analysis. I don't get all the stats, okay? So even these 2 that I posted up, they might not be accurate. They might be accurate, but it's very... I can't watch all the games every minute, every second, because when I listen to the commentators, I fall asleep, okay? They're not exciting. They don't say, come on, let's go, let's get into the ball, come on, take the bounce, come on down. They don't get excited. It's just... Come on, he takes a kick, hand pass. It's like watching cricket. There's something wrong. Anyway, just come down for now. Anyway, we're going to continue. Okay, we go to the Melbourne versus St Kilda game. Now, with Melbourne, I noticed Brayshaw didn't have as much midfield time as they said he was going to have in the preseason. They said Brayshaw was going to be a midfielder. Well, I didn't see that. I saw him more in defence. Petrarca, he looked good. But then again, that's Petrarca. He always does. Okay, he looked like he had a lot of midfield time. I thought he was going to have more forward time. I was wrong. He had more midfield time. But again, he did play forward as well. But he looked very sharp. Hunter at $392K, very awkward price. But looked good. But I don't think I can get him in a team. But he looked okay. He looked not bad. Now, Gawn and Grundy looked like they had... sharing ruck duties as I thought and as I taught, but I can't see me picking any of these 2. I can see Grundy dropping and Gawn dropping. Well, Grundy may hold price at $500K. He had 60% ruck time. Gawn had 40%. That's not enough. Okay, if you want Grundy to go 130s like the old days, he needs to have 80% ruck time. 60% might give him 90s, okay? Now, I don't see scores, and it's very hard to work out what he's going to score. So it's next week will be much easier. Next week we'll see stats, we'll see scores, we'll see possessions, we'll see everything. But this week is a little bit hard. Now, Gawn, he can drop down to 450K the way he's rolled, like 40% ruck time for Gawn. We can see him really cheap. So we may get a bargain with Gawn coming up in round 6. So he'll be one to watch and probably an upgrade target. I don't mind having him at R2 as my first upgrade. Wait till you see my new plans. I've got plans now. Wait till you see my team, what I've done. You're going to freak out. You're going to collapse. Keep the phone close to you in case you need to call 000, just in case. But, Pickett. 365K forward. He looked good. He played midfield. I mean, one of my subs made a comment. Let me find who it is. Well, I found the comments. It was from the ex-legendary 24X. Let's call him the ex-legend for now. It's easier than all these words. So, ex-legend. What did he say? Well, he's actually not an ex-legend. Let's just call him a legend. Okay, the legend said Kozzie Pickett also looked really impressive in the midfield. Could be a better option instead of Zeeble. Now, I didn't even take notice of Kozzie. I wasn't looking for him. So now that he mentioned Kozzie, because he's a Melbourne man, so he's watching his Melbourne boys, very close. And I wasn't even looking at Kozzie Pickett. But now that he mentioned Kozzie Pickett, let's take a look. Let's have a close look at Kozzie Pickett next week. He says, "Do you think he can average 80?" I said to him, "Do you think he can average 85 and 90?" Because that's what I'm expecting from Zeeble. And he said, "If he can keep this role, I think so. I'm a Melbourne supporter, and Kozzie was everywhere, doing a lot of two-way running. That game definitely one to watch. So let's keep a close eye on Kozzie, okay? For everybody, thank you, ex-legendary. Thank you very much for this information. We have the inside sources here on this channel. Just coming down, everyone." Now, for St Kilda, we saw Marshall. Now, with Marshall, he played purely ruck. He was up against Gordon Grundy. That's no easy task. Everyone's going to struggle this year against Gordon Grundy. But he held his own. He took intercept marks. His field work was really impressive. So he's a lock. He has to be in your team this year, Marshall. Windhager. Okay, now this is an interesting one. I noticed Windhager playing off half back. He's a 266k forward mid. Now he could be a cheap alternative in your F5 spot. If Zeeble's struggling, Windhager could be come to the rescue because he actually looked okay. Now I don't know what he scored Supercoach wise. I don't know how many kicks he had. I just saw his roll and looked good. So let's keep a close eye on Windhager next week. He's one to watch. Now, Falupu, okay, played mainly as a forward and he did a couple of good things, but I don't know if he's going to be a huge 80s and 90s scorer. He's going to be a cash cow, and that's what his job is. I don't know about job security. I don't know if he's going to be a sub 1 week. I don't know. I can't answer those questions. But he looked okay. Steele is Steele, okay? He's a lock. He just tackles and in the right spots, does all the grunt work. So I'm holding Steele in my team. I'm happy with Steele. He stays in my team. He's my captain, vice captain option every week now because I don't have the big boys yet. Now, Clark was my disappointment. I was expecting he was in the first quarter, and that's what I watched mainly, the first quarter. He was in most of the CBAs. He was in nearly all of them. Not all of them, but nearly all of them. There's a word nearly in there, just coming down. But he looked lost. I don't know. He just wasn't... It just didn't look right. I mean, he was up against Melbourne, Oliver, Petrarca, it was up against the best. But still, he just didn't look right. So I'm going to pass on him now. I'm not interested. I lost interest. We've left him. He's off the watch list. My interest is gone. All right, let's move on to the next game. Now we move over to the Eagles versus Power game, where the cameraman was a little bit better. Now, with the Eagles, we had Sheed, 72% CBAs. Now, that's really good. Okay. Now, he didn't do much, but that doesn't matter. He doesn't have to do much. We're there to see his role. We're not there to see how well he played because we know what Sheed can do. Well, I do anyway. And Sheed's going to go at least at 95 plus or 90 plus with that role. If CBA's that high, he tackles, he'll get a few kicks, he'll get his 90 plus. That's all we need. So I've locked Sheed in. He's a lock for me now. He was already a lock anyway. I already locked him last time, but I've already thrown the keys away. I can't lock him again, but I've locked him again. Now, for those of you that were interested in Cully, he had 24% CBAs. Okay, so that's what he was never in my team, but I'm here to show you to see what I saw. So Cully was at 24%. Yo, 60% CBAs. He looked really good. He's the biggest lock this year for me. Injury is the only concern, but we just need 7 weeks out of him. That's all. And he could even be a keeper. So hopefully he lasts the whole year. Let's see how we go with him. With Allen, I don't usually like full forwards, but he actually looked okay. He moved up to the ground, got a few touches. He may be that 70s type player. Like I said, I don't like full forwards, but he actually moved good. Now with string. What's his name? Didn't play. Jack Darling. He didn't play. So when Jack Darling plays, maybe Jack Darling moves up the ground a bit more, and Allen stays at full forward, or vice versa. So I don't know the answer to that. So you might have to see that next week. But Allen did look okay, but not like he's going to go 100 plus. Is more like a couple of 60s, 70s. He's going to be one of those players, all right? And he handballs. He credited a few goals too, which I noticed. Had a few goal assists, so they were actually 4 points. So he might be okay. Now, Chesser, I was impressed with him. I had him one of the best players on the ground for West Coast. He was one of their better players, and put him on field. You can put this guy on field in your defence. He'll play round one. He'll play every game this year, Chesser. They'll play him every game. He looked really good. Put him on field. In defence, on field. He plays on the wing, okay? He doesn't play in defence, but he's gonna be around about 70 plus, maybe 65, 70 plus. That's enough for now. Okay, I liked. Now, let's go to the power. With power, we had Horn Francis, 76% CBAs. That's a lot of CBAs. So it looks like he may cement that spot. We don't know, because Drew only had 20%. So if Drew's going to tag someone in a given day, that means Horn Francis is going to have to drop out, because they've still got Wines in there that had a lot of CBAs. So then they're going to run Rosie through there to give the balance, because he needs someone that's a little bit quicker. And speaking of Rosie, he looked good. 52% CBAs. He looked good enough to be in your forward line. So I'm happy with the Rosie pick at the moment. Even though I'm still not comfortable, I'm still happy because there's not much options. So he looks good. With Fantasia, okay, at 200k forward, he didn't do much. There's not much. The role is not good for him to make a lot of cash. He's going to have a good week and then have a bad week. So the role's there, but it's not. So I'm passing on Fantasia. The big news is the Teakle and Lysette news. Okay, Teakle started at the ruck. We didn't see Lysette. It was all Teakle. Well, I thought something was going on now. The Lysette is the forgotten man. They don't like him anymore. But things changed. I just got a tweet in. Just came in today. Well, I seen it today anyway. Might have came in before today. I don't know, because I just woke up. Just coming down. Anyway, this is what I seen. This came from Honeyball, my boy, the Honeyball. He says, Nathan Bassett, this is his words, I think Scooter was really impressive tonight. I think Scott did a really good job for us in the ruck. Brian Teakle is a good learner, but Scott gave us great look, and his contest was good. So what is this trying to say? Well, one is a good learner, and the other one is good at contests. Does that give you a hint? Just come down, hint. Okay, I think our boy Lysette is back. Now, it's back to Lysette and forget. Lysette is in my team again now. Okay, let's go to the next game. We move to the Adelaide and Freo game. Now, if you have children, okay, if you have kids, young kids, and they don't sleep, some kids don't sleep, and you want to make your kids sleep, get a chance to watch the Adelaide and Freo game, and the commentators, they'll make your kids fall asleep. They made me fall asleep. I was wide awake, started watching the game. They knocked me out straight away. They're very good at their job at making people fall asleep. So if you want to, like I said, your children are not sleeping, just make them watch this game. They'll sleep. Anyway, Berry, 478k mid. Looks like he's got a lot of midfield time. Played like 70% or higher. He was huge in the midfield. Now George loves him. Not sure if you know George. He had his own channel. I think everybody knows George. Just come it down. Anyway, George loves him. So if George loves him, he must be good. George has a good eye. So let's see how he goes. Now Milera, I'm passing on him. Played okay. It was okay, serviceable. He's not gonna make you that 150k. He's not gonna be a keeper. Just a pass. Rochelle, 287k forward. keep an eye on him next week. Let's see if he spends more midfield time. It could be good if he's got the role. That's the key word, role. So we have to, because we've got Laird in there, we've got Berry in there now, and that funny thing is now Keys is no longer in favour. They don't like Keys anymore. I don't know what's happening. Berry is the boy now. Keys is playing elsewhere, probably forward. So didn't have much CBA's Keys. So it could be Keys could be not good for now. It might be a good pickup later on if they decide to put Keys in that midfield. You can get Keys. You might be able to get Keys really cheap if they change plans. So keep an eye on Keys throughout the year and the Adelaide structure. And once you see Keys start getting some midfield time, and if he drops around about 300k, because he will drop to 300k if he keeps playing forward, it could be a good get. Anyway. Hey, we now move over to Freo, and we had Fife, and as expected, he played forward, and at his price, you just can't get him. He's not going to score you those 100s like he used to, those big scores. You can go back to my review on him. It hasn't changed. My opinion is still the same. My opinion on Young is still the same as well. My review on Young was out, and I have the same opinion. There's too much competition in that back line for him to go at a high score every week. I mean, he's a good kid, but if he was in another club, it'll be no problems. Not at Freo. I'm passing on Young. He's a jet, all right? Don't get me wrong. he's a gun. But for Supercoach-wise, there's just too many points to share in that defence. And if one off game and someone else is going to score huge and his points just drop. Now, we have the Jackson and Darcy situation. Darcy went around about 70% ruck. All right, so Jackson had the rest. 70, not 70, and 70% just coming down. And Jackson had the rest. So the coach did say that this can change throughout the course of the year. Some weeks it'll be Jackson having 70 and Darcy not having... Well, that's what the coach said. We don't trust the coaches anymore, but that's what he said. So Jackson looked good. He actually looks really good. If Jackson had 70% ruck every week, he'd probably be the R1 of the year. He'd be that good. Unfortunately, he doesn't get that. So Darcy at 70% look good, but can you trust it? That's the issue. I mean, yeah, that's something you need to think about. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for joining. And remember one thing. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.